I think one of the biggest reasons people want to draw anime has nothing to do with anime. Hear me out. Whenever someone says they want to improve their art, they usually focus on the obvious things. Better anatomy, better shading, coloring, maybe better backgrounds if they're feeling ambitious. But there is one thing that makes almost every drawing better, and it's something most people don't even think about. Composition. Now, I know that's not the most exciting word in the world. It sounds like something you'd hear on the first day of an art class before immediately zoning out. But composition is basically just one question. Where do you want people to look first? That's it. Every drawing is trying to guide your eyes somewhere. The funny thing is, anime has been teaching us this for years. We just don't realize it. Think about your favorite anime scene and think about what it actually looked like. Maybe it was a character standing alone in the rain, maybe it was a huge fight scene. Whatever came to mind, I bet you didn't remember every single detail. You probably remembered the feeling. And that's because good composition isn't about making everything look pretty. One of the biggest mistakes beginner artists make is trying to make every part of a drawing equally interesting. They'll render every leaf, every brick, every strand of hair, every wrinkle in a jacket. And by the end, nothing really stands out. It's kind of like trying to make every word in a sentence bold. If everything is important, nothing feels important. Anime understands this really well. Watch almost any scene. The animators constantly tell you where to look. Sometimes it's through lighting, a bright character standing against a dark background. Sometimes it's through color or movement. And sometimes it's even through the quality of animation. But there is one technique in anime and manga that surprised me when I first started paying attention. Anime and manga aren't afraid of empty shots. Simply empty space with nothing on it. At first, it almost feels like wasted space. But it's doing something really important here. It's giving the subject a room to breathe. As artists, I think we are terrified of an empty space. I feel like every inch of the canvas has to be filled sometimes. If there is a blank corner, we add a tree or clouds or sparkles or floating leaves or birds, or we love birds. But sometimes the empty space is the composition. It makes the lonely character feel lonelier, giant building feel even bigger. It gives your eyes somewhere to rest before moving back to the subject. When I was in an art school, or when I was studying game design and we had an art class, one of the first things they told us, besides working on your line work, is to never look close at your drawing. Take a few steps back, zoom out. Usually people don't look at your art in detail. You do not need to render every minuscule little detail that probably won't even get noticed. It's all about the big picture, the whole composition itself. Okay, now, pause on anime. I'm serious. Pick any scene that catches your eye. Blur your eyes a little or zoom them a little bit out. Can you still tell what's important? If the answer is yes, that's probably a very well composed shot. The details almost don't matter anymore. The big shapes are doing all the work. I started doing this a while ago with my own art and it completely changed how I looked at it. Instead of focusing so much on line art and perfecting every little detail, I stopped wasting my time and started paying more attention to the whole composition of my art. For example, the camera angle, the empty space, how the characters are framed. And sometimes I realize that a scene is not even that complicated if you are making smart decisions. I think beginners often assume that professional artists have some secret knowledge. And maybe sometimes they do. But I feel like a lot of the time they're just making your job easier as a viewer. They're removing distractions, deciding what deserves your attention. That's composition. And honestly, manga might be even better at teaching this. Manga doesn't have color, it doesn't have animation, it doesn't have music. So every panel has to work incredibly hard. In my opinion, that's even more complicated because you don't have only one drawing to work with. No, you need to make every panel look coherent with another. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons anime and manga can teach artists. Not everything deserves the same amount of attention. And once you start noticing that, you'll never watch anime or read manga the same way again. And that's probably the biggest secret. Composition. Composition isn't really about making pretty pictures. It's about communication. Ask yourself, what do I want someone to feel the second they look at this? If the answer is calm, your composition should help to create calm. If the answer is chaos, your compositions should feel chaotic. If the answer is loneliness, maybe don't feel every inch of the page. So hey, next time you're watching anime, I'm sorry, but probably you're watching a masterclass in composition and you just don't realize that you were studying. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any new videos. I love you all so much. And I hope I will see you at our cafe again for another cup of coffee. Bye!